Here on Trisha Harrison. All right. Where is she? All right. Court is calling 2024 CR 0452, State of Texas versus Trisha Harrison. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Andrew Harrison.
Defense.
Abelardo Garza.
Are you Miss Harrison?
Yes.
Counsel, have you received all of the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Harrison, did you review the document entitled application
Yes.
for community supervision with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes.
Did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled True Bill of Indictment with your attorney?
Yes.
Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We waive, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Harrison, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand you're charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram? That's a state jail felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights? And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
She has, Your Honor.
Do you believe she has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against
I
her?
believe so, Your Honor.
Do you believe she's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Harrison, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea? Anyone promised you anything other than the plea? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the state jail facility. There's a $1,000 fine and the state recommends community supervision. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes.
Defense, is that the plea?
That is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
The offer that I made to defense counsel was that the $1,000 fine was probated and should be included on the part of the paperwork, Your Honor.
All right, if you all want to write that in there. All right, other than that addition, did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
So the agreement is that the fine will be probated. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes.
Counsel, are there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 3 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 120 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those were recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations? Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
State, any evidence to support the defendant's plea?
Be contained in Exhibit 1 of the attachments, Your Honor.
No objections, Your Honor.
Right, state, you may be excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Waiver and Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent? And did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, the state would not be presenting any live witnesses?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd ask to waive PSI.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Well, Your Honor, she understands what she did. She's taking full responsibility. We're asking the court to follow you.
What happened to your arm?
I was on drugs and, you know what I'm saying, I had maggots in my arms. I was in the hospital. I passed away and I had surgery.
Okay.
It's not,
And how old are you?
I'm 33.
Do you have any children?
Mhm.
All right. Who is your support system? Do you have family here?
Yes,
What family do you have here?
I have my mom.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I got a brother.
How many?
I have one.
One
Yes,
brother? And where is he?
he's from his family. He's
Okay.
married and everything.
Okay. So why did you start using? Do you know?
Yes, my mom left me under the bridge when I was younger and I grew up in the streets basically.
Okay. And how old were you when your mom left you?
17.
So the person who was with you by the name of Stephen Rivera, do you know him or no? You're gonna have to say yes or no.
No,
Okay. And let me mute us for a moment. It's not my intent to embarrass you, but I firmly believe that you need drug rehab. And so I'm trying to figure out in my mind what program would be best for you. Because I mean, you're not going to be released from custody today. You're going into a rehab center because I think she needs that. Heroin is a hard drug to stop using. I remember watching these documentaries. I think they may still do them. They used to do them on, I think, VH1. And it was about the 80s bands and how much drugs they were using. And the band member, who is the lead singer from Aerosmith, Steven Tyler?
Steven Tyler,
Yeah. Steven Tyler was on, and Steven Tyler, I think, was on heroin. He kicked the habit, right? But he said he was watching a program, and in that program, somebody had died from a heroin overdose. And he said the first thing that came to his mind was that must have been some good heroin. And he said that drugs tend to mess with your mind like that. You know, it releases endorphins or something that it does that makes you feel great, right? To get away from your problems. And then there were other band members, they call them the 80s hair band. And I don't even know why they were doing this. They said they were shooting up alcohol. Can you imagine taking like Jack Daniels and shooting up Jack Daniels? They said they were just doing everything, and they're lucky that any of them survived. So I know that heroin is hard to quit. I know that having a near-death experience the way you had it, you're probably like, that's it for me. I'm never going to do it again. But it's easy for that to be it for you and never do it again if you're in lockdown. Because once you're released, you end up going back around the same people, places, and things. I don't know if your mom has changed or not, but you're telling me your mom left you underneath a bridge at 17. And now you're telling me your support system is your aunt and your mom.
yeah.
Maybe she's changed. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. Court is finding you guilty. The court will sentence you to 2 years in the state jail facility, suspended and probated for 4 years. Counsel, if she completes everything successfully, of course, I consider terminating her early. There's $1,000 fine probated. She is to remain in custody for the following evaluations. TAP evaluation, Esperanza Court, and felony drug court. Those are all to be done in custody, and this is the order I want it done. Number 1 will be felony drug court. Number 2 will be Esperanza Court. And of course, the TAP evaluation, if need be, it can run concurrent with that. If for any reason she is not accepted into Esperanza Court or felony drug court, then I want her brought back to court and we're going to see what we're going to do. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There is to be the UA hotline until further notice. And how far did you go in school?
9th grade,
All right. Is there a reason why you dropped out at 9th grade?
my mom withdrew me.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are your hopes, your dreams?
To stay clean and sober, get a job in the society again.
All right. So what type of employment do you want? What do you want to do?
I want to do.
I know I'm putting you on the spot,
It's
but
okay.
this is what I want you to do. I want you to think about what you want to do employment wise with your life. You can always start with your hopes and your dreams. Some people are like, hey, I want to be president of the United States. Okay. If people stand before me and tell me they want to be president of the United States, or they want to be a doctor or a teacher, or whatever they want to do, if they want to work at McDonald's, my next question is going to be, what steps are you taking to make yourself
To reapply for Social Security office and
Mhm.
to go to get my food stamps and try to get back like I did in society.
all right. So you're going to have to get an education in something.
Yes,
So either trade school or either go back and get your GED.
get my GP.
All right. So I'm going to order 200 hours of community service restitution. 100 hours will be waived if she obtains her GED or if she's in some sort of trade school. We'll do a mental health evaluation, and that can be in custody. Yes. Proof of employment within 45 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors, and that's within 45 days of release. Field visits 1 time per month for 6 months. And that's upon release from custody. And there's going to be 180 sober meetings in 180 days. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, okay? Take
Thank
care of yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
We can go off the record. If there's an issue when you're released, talk to probation about it. If you think you're going to use, pick up the phone, call your probation officer and say, I think I'm going to use. What they'll do is they'll try to help you. If you feel like they're not helping you, come back to court and I will, all right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a seat.
All right, Terrence Bowie.
But before we start, can I ask you, that's a letter from his employer that was emailed to me yesterday evening.
All right. And there was just a plea on one case?
Yes. It was a plea on one and TIC the other, I believe.
So we have 2 pleas and then 1 TIC.
Okay.
Was it? is that right?
Yes, it was. I'm looking now. It's the 8727 and 8725.
8726.
Yes. All right, court is calling 2023 CR 8725, 2023 CR 8727. Could I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Jason, your hand, Your Honor.
Defense?
Scott McCrum for Terrence Bowie.
And you're Mr. Bowie? All right, we're here for sentencing. And each of these cause numbers, you entered into a plea. And according to your plea agreement, punishments be assessed at a cap of 6 years. The state is silent on your applications and the cases are to run concurrently. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And then the court was tendered a letter from Mr. Bowie's employment. Any objections to the court having read that?
No.
All right. The state is silent. Anything you wish to say on your client's behalf?
I would like the court to hear from a couple witnesses, Judge, if
Sure.
you don't mind, please. Shamika Bowie?
All right. If you'll. It's Bowie, Bowie. Okay, sure. We'll,
Shemeka.
all right. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Shemeka Bowie.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Bowie, how are you related to Terrence?
That's my nephew.
And where do you live, Miss?
I live maybe 5 minutes away from him.
And where are you employed? Where do you work?
Semester ES Suites downtown.
And talk to, I don't want to go way too far back, but like, let's say like the last year and a half, your relationship with Terrence and your interactions with Terrence. Briefly tell the judge how much of your life he's a part of.
Well, I practically watched him grow up. I lost my husband 3 months ago, and he's been my support system. Me and my 11-year-old daughter, he comes and fix things at the house. He's been my major support system to help me get through the death of my husband. He goes to the grocery stores for me, fixes my car when he don't know what he's doing. But he's a major help to me and my 11-year-old daughter.
How frequently do you call on him for some help in one way or the other?
Pretty often, because I'm depressed a lot with the loss of my husband. So I call him pretty often, pretty much every other day, sometimes 2-3 times a day.
That you need something or would like some help?
Yes.
And is he always responsive to that?
Every time.
What about before you lost your husband? When I understand your husband was ill for quite a while?
Yes, sir.
What was Terrence's interactions with you and your husband during that period that he was ill?
Well, he would come over there to give me like a 20-30 minute break and sit with his uncle and just help me out with him and things like that. He'll push him in the wheelchair outside when he was able to sit in the wheelchair. But he spent a lot of time over there with us.
Has he always been a positive influence to you and your family?
Yes,
Thank
most
you.
definitely.
Pass, please.
All right, any questions? All right, thank you for coming in.
Judge, for listening to me, I appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome.
I'd like to call Brandon Cooper, please.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Randy.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cooper, how do you know Terrence Bowie?
I actually met Mr. Bowie toward the end of COVID. He was bringing another young man. I was a dispatcher at the time for a company called Home Delivery Link, also assistant manager. He brought another young man over to get a job. At that time, we were doing their interest, Mr. Bowie, quite a lot, you know. So it became one of those, okay, how do I start my own business? How do I get my own LLC? So in between that time, I've just been constantly working with him, speaking with him day in, day out, month after month, trying to get him, you know, up to par, you know, getting his MC.
What is an MC, sir?
MC is a motor carriage permit, which allows drivers to be able to operate interstate. Normally, whenever you assume a contract, he's able to work locally. But if they needed him in Tennessee, prime example, they need him in Tennessee, what would have to happen, he has to have that MC, that motor carriage permit, in order to be able to take his truck, if he started an LLC, to go from one state to the other state in order to.
Okay, now you covered a lot of stuff right there, so I want to break down just a little bit some of those things. When you first met him, it was in your capacity as running a business?
Yes, it was in my capacity as being an actual dispatcher, assistant manager at the time for a company called Home Delivery.
And what was that home delivery link?
Home Delivery, we provide delivery service and delivery and installation service for Costco.
For Costco Foods?
Costco Foods, Costco Delivery, yes.
And you met him because he took a friend over to get a
Yes, he
job
did.
there?
Yes, he did.
This lady's writing down what we're, listen, don't wait till I'm finished talking before you answer.
Understood.
She can't write close. And so after he met you, you're saying he took an interest in your business?
Yes, he did.
And how often did you talk to him? When was that? How long ago?
I want to say latter part of, it was in the fall.
Oh, you mentioned a COVID time, right?
COVID time, yes, it was in the fall.
At some point, did Terrence start working for you or covering shifts there?
What happened is Terrence made me aware he was working at another location. And he said that anytime that I needed help, that give him a call, because he wanted to learn the business in order to start his business, to give him a call.
Is this when he was working at the bakery?
Yes,
And is my understanding his shifts at the bakery have always been 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.?
yes.
And how often would you call on him when you needed him to cover a shift?
Well, it just pretty much depended on, if someone called in, we're contract delivery, so they don't have a set schedule as far as, work, whenever they would come. But I would call Terrence in the morning, if someone would call in and say, hey, I can't make it. I would call Terrence between maybe 6:15, 6:30. He'd say, I'm on my way. He would actually come, he would assume that job, being that they don't, like I said, they don't have a set schedule, so he will be there until they get done.
That's with your company.
Yes,
And he would go in after a full shift at the bakery all night, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Then he would go over and help you cover a shift and work that whole day.
yes.
How often would he do that?
I want to say in a month's time, and it's really depending on the frequency of whoever's not there. So one time it'll probably be 4 to 5 times.
So a lot of times over the last couple of years
Yes,
that he'd go in and work shift after he worked a
Yes.
whole night shift. Have you kept in contact with him other than just covering shifts? Have you gotten to know him?
I have. He's always, he'll call whenever he hears about another contract or an opening or something like that. He will ask, do you know about this location? What are their requirements? If I know of that location, what are their requirements, and how would he go about, obtaining the LLC?
So is it fair to say that he has shown an ambition to better himself and to look toward his future in creating business opportunities for him?
Most definitely.
For
Most
himself.
definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Pass the witness.
No question.
All right, thank you.
One last witness, Your Honor. Daryl Richardson, please. Right here, sir.
Can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, please.
Richardson.
All right,
Thank you,
okay.
Judge. Mr. Richardson, how do you know Terrence Bowie?
He's my next door neighbor,
How long have you lived next door to him?
like 2 years.
And are you employed, sir?
I know, but disabled.
Disabled?
I'm sorry, can you
Disabled.
go to the back?
Just move up a little.
Disabled.
Thank you.
And so you've been neighbors with him, next door neighbors, for 2 years now?
Yes.
And tell the judge about some of your interactions with Terrence over the last 2 years.
Because I'm a decent mechanic, a regular mechanic. He always asked me questions about the cars. Like he said, he's working on a lady car, asked me a question about what's good and what's bad. He would always come around every other day, ask questions.
Okay, and what about as far as helping you with things around the house? Do you ever find a need to call on Terrence that you need his help with something?
Oh yeah, I had surgery on my leg. He would help me with that.
Like what?
I was in a wheelchair.
Okay, so what kind of things would he do for you?
Push me out the wheelchair because I don't have a ramp. Take me outside on the stairs.
Okay, what about around the house with any things around the house, fixing up the house or chores or anything like
He
that?
would mentor my son.
Pardon me?
He would mentor my son.
And that's your son in the red shirt in the back of the courtroom? How old is he?
He's 13.
And so his interactions with your son, you said he would mentor him?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Not getting into trouble. Don't hang with the wrong crowd.
So try to talk to him about being positive in life?
Yeah, because we live in a rough neighborhood.
Okay, and where's that, sir?
East side,
Where on the east side?
off Martin Luther King.
Okay. Were there occasions that you would have to have work on your car and you needed help doing that work?
He would be right there.
You would be right there? You'd call on him?
Sure.
Did he ever ask for payment
No.
when he helped you?
No.
What are your impressions of Terrence as a man?
He's a good man.
Thank you, sir. Pass the witness.
See? All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Judge, the pre-sentence accurately reflects Terrence's history.
So this is what I want to know. And this is the $1 million question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is he in custody?
The bondsman went off his bond. They couldn't contact him, is my understanding, right?
That's three.
Is it because the bondsman went off the bond?
Yes, sir.
You called, you had called and I went up there immediately right after. And I went Friday too.
Oh, well, let me have you raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Terrence Bowie.
All right, so why are you in custody?
I called you.
I dropped, yeah, you called me. They contacted my lawyer and said that I was off the bond. I dropped my phone and cracked it. I actually went to the bail bondsman twice last week and to ask them Friday, asked them when my court date, recently Friday, and they called the court and they still gave it to me. So I didn't think that they was off my bond. But when whoever contacted my lawyer, I went immediately right down the street because my phone was broken and they said that they'll be back on it. She contacted the owner.
Okay.
And I'd like to offer just on that subject, Judge, the bondsman, the reason I know is because they had called me that they couldn't contact him. He had changed his number. I did give them his number and I called him and I said, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that's all I needed to know.
Okay,
All
good
right.
enough.
All right. So here's the thing, Mr. Bowie. I want you to understand something. I've read the PSI report, and I understand that sometimes people become addicted to drugs. Sometimes it's prescription drugs. I see your issue with the OxyContin, and I understand that that's a drug that a lot of people are addicted to. And I think there was some, what was his name? There was, I'm not even going to mention their name, but there was a person who had a show on television and they would say, you know, all of these people who are addicted to drugs, they need to go to prison. And I don't understand why, you know, they just need to go to prison and needs to be done and over with. And then we won't have this problem. The people who are addicted to drugs go to prison. The people who are addicted to drugs and maybe sell drugs to support their habit, they go to prison, problem solved. And then you know what ended up happening to that person? They were addicted to OxyContin. And then somebody gave them a chance. And as I was watching that, I was thinking how hypocritical that until it touches you, you're fine with everybody going to prison for using drugs, right? So here's the thing. I've heard from your neighbors, and it's hard to, I know, to get a neighbor to just come in because they have their own life to live. I've heard from the person who you've answered the call for, as far as they need somebody to work, you come in. You always show up to court dressed appropriately for court. No offense to the attorneys, but sometimes he shows up dressed better than the attorneys do.
What
And I'm not
are you
looking-
talking about?
I'm
Judge?
not looking at anybody, but he does. So I do.
And that's after a 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, Judge, that he
Yes.
comes into court.
And he's always on time.
Yes, ma'am.
So sometimes I can give people choices. Sometimes I cannot give people choices. Deputies always say the probation I give is a difficult probation. I think your attorney will probably agree with that. So I'm going to give you a choice. Here are your choices. The state has offered you a cap of 6. I can place you on probation, or I can sentence you, and I'll sentence you to 2 years prison. So those are your choices. You can go to prison or you can be on probation with the court. And if you want to talk to your attorney about that, you can.
I already know probation with the court. I want to be here with my daughter born.
Okay.
Plus, I don't know if it's in front of you as well, Judge, is that you ordered from the first time he was in court to go UAs, regular UAs, every
Yes.
month. And he has, since that day, he hasn't used, and he's had clean UAs, and he said he'll be clean today. Just
I take one today.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do then is, let me see here. There was an application for deferred. I'm going to place you on deferred. But here's the thing about deferred. If you are unsuccessful or if a motion to revoke is filed, you're subject to the full range of punishment. Do you understand?
I do the rest of the 6 years. I mean, in the
Hmm.
timing.
It don't matter, you're not gonna get removed.
No, I ain't. I'm just saying I understand what she's.
Yeah, just make sure you understand what I'm saying. That if you end up getting a motion to revoke, like in the case number that is ended in 8725, if you're revoked on that, you're looking at 20 years in prison. On the case ended in 8727, if you're revoked on that, you're looking at 10 years in the prison. Do you understand? All right. Let me see. All right, probation in each of the cause numbers. This is what the court is going to do. Court is going to sentence you to 6 years deferred adjudication. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. There's going to be regular random UAs. But with your work hours, if you want, you can do the patch. The only thing is the patch costs more, but with the patch, they put it on you and they call you back in within a month and they tell you, come back in. You don't remove the patch, they remove it, and it will let them know if you were using drugs. So you can speak to probation about the cost of that as opposed to the regular random UAs, because regular random UAs are requiring. And what that means is if you're at your work, they'll call you, say, come in and do a UA. The most I allow people to do, I don't do that, oh, I'll be in the next day thing. I do that, all right, I'll come in on my lunch break. That's as far as leeway as you get. You understand?
Look, can you? Oh, I'll talk to them.
What?
It's just they let me know in like a day in advance. You know. No. Well, they probably would be telling you because I go to work at 10 p.m. at night, and then if I wake up at 6, I probably would go to sleep when I get out of work. So any text message or call,
Here's the thing. You're just gonna have to make it happen.
got it.
Otherwise, you're gonna have to do the patch. Proof of employment within 30 days. There should be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Each case will run concurrently. Do we have restitution in any of this for drug testing?
Judge, will just be restitution to SC.
All right, so take in consideration 2023 CR 8726. And there's to be restitution, if any, to SAPD for drug testing counsel. If you believe the amount is too high, we can have a restitution hearing on it. There is going to be 200 hours of community service restitution. How far did you go in school?
High school,
All right.
12th grade.
All right, so are you just planning on continuing doing what you're doing? Or are you going to, I know he was talking about your MC license. Is there anything else other than that?
Yeah, I breed dogs, but the MC license kind of stopped because of the case situation right here. I've been putting my funding into my lawyer,
Okay, what dogs are you breeding?
micro bullies.
Yeah,
What's wrong with that? I have to stop.
yeah. See, here's the thing. People are out here just breeding dogs and honestly, they haven't studied anything. They're not medical professionals. And when people breed dogs and they think, I want a purebred dog, this is what I know. And this is what I know from research. And this is what I know from watching the dog shows that are on television. Every single purebred dog has an issue. They have a medical issue. When people do the French bulldogs, those French bulldogs, the way they look now with the smashed in face, if you look back in history, that's not how that dog is supposed to look. People are like, oh, I want a cute little puppy, or oh, I want a micro pit. This is what I want. And you know what? It's damaging them. That's why some of them have hip dysplasia. That's why some of them can't breathe. That's why the French bulldog can't breathe, because people out here treating animals not as a living, breathing entity, but as property, which technically I can understand animals being property, but they're treating it as that and just want the aesthetics, not realizing the damage they're doing. And honestly, it's just a bunch of inbreeding that's going on.
I know exactly what you're talking.
And I don't see where you have time for that. So I can tell you right now, I'm not allowing that. You're on probation and I can say what I want to allow. So I'm not allowing you to breed dogs. If you want to breed dogs, then you go to somebody's university, some veterinarian's clinic, and work through that and tell me what issues are going to occur because of that. And if you're expecting a baby, I've seen so many videos and I don't know how parents do it. There was a video that was out that my mom told me about. This lady, they just had a newborn baby and they have a husky. And they're like, oh, look, the husky is jealous of the baby. It's sleeping in the baby's crib and barks when the baby goes to the crib. I'm like, that is foolishness. That husky is probably going to end up attacking that baby. And you don't need to be breeding dogs if you're going to have a newborn. And then the next thing you know, you're on the news crying because some dog has ripped your child to shreds. You understand? So I'm not allowing that. And whether it's a micro or whatever it is, you shouldn't be having pit bulls around your child. And I think that a majority of the time with pit bulls, it's all in the way they're raised. Because I have family members who have pit bulls. They're very nice. They're not looking to attack anybody. But then somebody raises an animal differently and they're looking to attack somebody. They used to, don't. They used to do that with German Shepherds, used to be the dog.
Rottweilers.
Dobermans, Rottweilers. It's all in the matter of you raise them. So no, I'm not allowing you to breed dogs, period. The end. There's no questions about that. If you want to breed a dog, you can do it after you're sentenced to prison for 2 years. And when you come out, you can do whatever you want to do. So do you still want to do this probation?
Oh yeah, I do want to do probation. The breeding dogs, no.
All right. So it's 100. I'm going to allow him I'm going to order parenting classes. Once he completes that, then 100 hours will be waived. And the remaining 100 hours will be waived if he completes some sort of trade school.
Can I do the CDL?
Sure.
You can put me down for that.
And he's not allowed to breed any type of animal. So you're not breeding parakeets, you're not breeding goldfish, you're not breeding anything. Do you understand? And there's going to be field visits 1 time per month until further notice. They're going to come out to your home. Probation. Is there anything else he needs? Thank you. Let me look at that. All right, then we will do that. And there's going to be intensive outpatient treatment with probation. And I'm going to do 90 sober meetings in 90 days. Anything else, probation? No. Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? All right. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it? And I just have one more, Jason. And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? And anytime you feel as though probation is getting too hard for you, you need to remember this moment where you almost went to prison for 6 years. Do you understand? From here on, we can go off the record. From here on out, everything you do, you need to ask yourself, could this potentially result in me going to prison for 20 or 10 years? If the answer is yes, don't do it. If the answer is maybe, don't do it. People come to court, and when they come to court here, and your attorney will tell you this, they will tell me sometimes, Judge, if you give me probation, I can report every day for the rest of my life. I can be on probation for the rest of my life. I'll be just fine. And you know what ends up happening? Probation starts getting hard for them, and they don't remember they were this close to going to prison. Do you understand? All right, so Deputy Laura, he can be released from custody.
And Judge, the warrants be lifted?
Yes, the warrants will be lifted.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, who's on Robert Aguilar? All right, court is calling 2024 CR 006995, State of Texas versus Robert Aguilar. Can I have the parties announced for the record for the state?
Zach Dunn for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
The attorney of record is Joanne De Hoyos, Joseph Stapleton standing in. Mr. Aguilar, will you give this court permission for me to do this in place of Ms. De Hoyos?
Sir.
All right. And did you say yes?
Yes.
All right, you're going to need to speak up, okay? Counsel, have you received all the discovery?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you review it with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Aguilar, did you review the document entitled Application for Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the court admonishments and defendant's waivers of affidavit of admonitions with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with assault, family second offense? That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Aguilar, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter the plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, punishments be assessed at 2 years in the prison. State recommends community supervision. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent? Did you understand? Did you understand that to be the entirety of your plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense is at the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
State is at the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your community supervision be for a term of 2 years. There be a TAP evaluation. They're suggesting no harmful or injurious contact with Gwen Taylor Abi, ABI,
Abi Rashid.
Abi Rashed, RACHED, and the BIPP course. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes.
State any evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. State offer states 1 and attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
Did you review the document entitled Waiving Consent to Stipulation of Testimony and Stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand again, you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent? Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are we proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
We ask that you follow the recommendation, Your Honor.
All right, state.
Your Honor, we have had contact with the complainant. They've made it clear they are not interested in supporting the district attorney's office in prosecution, as a note to the court.
Okay. All right. So you want to explain to me why you're hitting her with the Lysol can?
I wasn't in the right state of mind, and
What does that mean?
we were both arguing, and that was just the closest thing to me, and I ended up just throwing it at her, and I just at the time I wasn't like I said, it wasn't in the right frame of mind. There was drinking involved, and we just
That's not what mentioned anywhere in the police report that there was drinking involved. What it says is she states you didn't live with her, that you all had broken up, that she was work and she called you over to help watch the children until she returned home from work. So I don't think she's drinking at her job unless her job is to drink at her job.
she had drinks after work, and then she came home.
No. And then it says when she came home, she thanked you. Thank you so much, Robert, for helping to look after the children that are your biological children. That's not in there. I'm just adding that as commentary. And advised that you could leave. She said, thank you, Robert, for helping to watch the children while I was at work. You may now leave. And it said that you did not want to leave. You wanted to fix the relationship. So she said, okay, fine. You can stay the night, but you're going to have to sleep in the living room. And she said that while she was sleeping in her room, you kept coming in and out of her room, pleading with her to fix the relationship. And she said the final time you came in the room, you were aggressive. You punched her in the stomach and held her down and grabbed a nearby Lysol can. And then you struck her multiple times on the head and face with the can, causing numerous injuries to her head and face. Robert stopped when she began to bleed heavily and apologized. I'm sorry for hitting you several times over your head with this Lysol can. So that wasn't a throwing of a can. You were actively hitting her with the can. And it says, Gwen had visible injury to her head. So we're again, why are you hitting her with a can of Lysol?
I know it's not in the report, but there, like I said, I'm gonna say it again. She was drinking before she came home,
And you probably were angry.
I was drinking with her when she came home, because she came home, she was already drunk, and then she wanted to drink more. So I agreed. I went to the store, lot more. We drank together. And yeah, you're right. I was trying to fix the relationship, and we both just started bringing up the past, and we started getting mad at each other. And basically, like, we started getting physical with each other, you know. And like I said, I wasn't in the right frame of mind, and I just, you know, I couldn't think straight because of the fact that, like I said, we were drunk, and I couldn't stop myself at the time. And now I just, ever since I came back to jail, I've picked up the Bible again, and I just been trying to repent as much as I can.
Why are you always picking up the Bible in the jail? Why don't you pick up the Bible if you're going to pick it up in the free world?
That's what I plan on doing. If I'm granted probation, I plan on going to attending a church and getting as much help as I can.
Well, I can tell you,
volunteer work, anything.
what I can tell you is this relationship is over. I'm not going to allow you to have contact with her. That's it. It's done. It's over with. If she wants to have contact with him, then she needs to come to the court and explain to the court why she wants contact with him. If they have children together, which it appears they do have children together, then that's where your grandparents, I'm assuming your mom is still alive.
Yeah,
All right. Do you have contact with your mother?
here and there, but it's kind of rocky.
Well, do you have anybody in your life where your relationship with them is not rocky?
Just my grandma.
All right. So contact with the children, you know, if there's going to be some kind of custody exchange, that needs to be done through third parties. Because how old are your children?
My youngest just turned 2 in January, and my second oldest is going to be 4 in October.
All right. And so are these the only children who were at the location?
My youngest, we have an open adoption with him, so he's with another family.
So the 2-year-old is with another.
The 2-year-old is with another family, so he wasn't there. My 3-year-old was at the time he was asleep.
So you have a 3. Okay. This report says you were over there to watch their children. So how many children?
Just the one.
Or why does it say their children? There has to be more than one child if they're using the term their children. Children is plural.
No, I have 2 children with her, and one of them, my youngest, he's in an open adoption. Like,
So did that happen recently?
No, it happened when he was born.
All right, so let me explain to you. This is why I'm asking that question. It says that Gwen called you over to help watch over their children. It doesn't say to help watch over their child. So you're saying that when you went over to watch over children, it was really only one child? All right, and what was that child's age?
3. He's 3 right now, going to be 4.
So, and here's my other question. Why, according to you, why are you and the mother of that child getting intoxicated when you have a 3-year-old who's 100% dependent on you all?
Like I said, just
And then fighting.
we weren't thinking, and we obviously weren't good for each other. So
And why was your other child adopted out?
because at the time, I had just lost my job, and like basically we couldn't support him.
All right, and is she the mother of the child? So I'm assuming, and this is just me assuming, I'm assuming that you all know where children come from and how they're made. Why do y'all then keep doing this when you are having children that you know you can't afford to have, and you all just keep engaging in activities and not thinking of any consequences?
I honestly don't have an accurate answer for that. All I could say is just poor choices.
All right, court is going to find you guilty, sentence you to 2 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 2 years. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. How far did you go in school?
Just up to 10th grade.
All right, why did you drop out of school?
Just poor decisions.
What did your parents say about that?
They didn't really, I guess, go against it.
All right, the BIPP course, 200 hours of community service restitution. I'm gonna order parenting classes. Once he completes parenting classes, then 100 hours will be deemed satisfied. And I'm going to order him to obtain his GED or either some sort of trade school certification. And then once that's done, 100 hours will be deemed satisfied. There's going to be proof of employment. When's the last time you had employment and what did you do?
I was a bartender at Fat Tuesdays.
All right, you're not going to be allowed to be a bartender. You have an alcohol problem. So it's going to be proof of employment within 45 days. There should be no employment as a home health care provider with minors or working in any industry or any restaurant where their sole source of income is alcohol, and you're not allowed to be a bartender. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Field visits, one time per month for 6 months. And please have someone check on the child. And CPS compliance, if applicable. We can do a TAP evaluation. How long will it take to do a TAP evaluation in custody? All right, it's going to be a TAP evaluation in custody. Follow recommendations. And I'm going to ask for 90 sober meetings and 90 days. And there's to be no contact with Gwen, Taylor, Abi Rashad, ABI, there's a space, RACHED. There's to be regular random UAs and regular reporting by Zoom or in person. And probation, please make sure they check for alcohol. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court in order to be successful?
No.
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction and an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing in this court: to be successful on probation, communication is key. If there's an issue, let your probation officer know. If you feel as though they're not addressing it, you can always come back to the court and I will make sure it is addressed. Do you understand? And your relationship with her is over. If there's an issue with the children, you need to communicate through a third party. You're not to have any contact with her. You are not to go to her house. If she shows up to your house, it would probably be in your best interest to call the police and say, hey, I have a no contact order with this person and they're showing up to my home. Because if you all do this thing, which sometimes people do, they decide, oh, we're going to live together. We're just not going to tell the court about it. You know what ends up happening? There ends up being an argument. Then the next thing you know, that person is calling the police. They're going to see that you have a no contact order in place, and that's going to be the end for you. You understand? All right, good luck. Thank you.
Judge, if I may.
Yes.
Briefly, I believe the CW did affidavit to the states, told them that she had no interest in going forward.
Yes.
He accepted his probation offer. I know that I explained above the line, below the line.
Mhm.
He was really hoping to get out. If you could reconsider the TAP in custody.
That's what I was gonna ask you about too. If possibly I can get the TAP evaluation on release at the probation.
No. They'll do the TAP because the TAP may end up recommending that you go to inpatient treatment. I don't know. It's obvious to the court that you have a major drug an alcohol issue, or you say just a alcohol issue? Because anytime you get in an argument with someone who's the mother of your children, and you pick up a Lysol can and you start hitting her over the head with it, and then you tell me you were not in the right frame of mind, and for you, the right frame of mind or not being in that right frame of mind was I was using alcohol, and we both brought up things from the past, that's an issue for the court. And I want to make sure that you have any treatment that you need. It's 2 weeks. All right. And counsel, if for some reason that tap is not done in 2 weeks, if you come back, then I'll consider releasing him. All right. Thank you.
Yes. Joseph, J-O-S.
Okay.
All right. Mariah Lopez. Hello. Hi. Why is it always an issue with getting you to come over from the jail? Because do you know, I get orders where people want me to sign them. And here's the thing, and he'll tell you, I've been a defense attorney before, and I've had clients who don't want to come to the jail or they don't want to do certain things. And I always tell my client, at the end of the day, if you're supposed to be in court and you don't want to come and the deputies bring you, who's going to end up winning that fight? Somebody may end up getting tased. Somebody may end up getting bruised. And guess what? It's not going to be the deputies. So when you're ordered to come over, just come over, okay? Yes.
When you said getting tased, you looked at me and I was.
No, you're not going to be tased unless you're going to. I mean, some attorneys have gone to the mat for their clients. So when you're ordered to come over, there's a reason why you're being brought over. It's to take care of your case. And at the end of the day, I don't think if this ends up going to trial, I don't think you want to go to trial with your attorney having never spoken to you or you've ever been in court to question certain things about discovery. You understand? All right. So where are we, counsel?
Just so you know, Judge, I've met with her while in custody. We have not had any issues, and I know that my understanding came here willingly without issue today.
Yes.
In regards to discovery, I had significant issue trying to get discovery.
Mhm.
I believe I finally have received it.
Okay.
I need time to go through it. I did confer with my client last week, conferred with the state today. They made us an offer, but there's some work I need to get done in order
Okay.
to even consider what I would recommend to my client.
All right. So this is what we're going to do. Ms. Ferguson, give me a 30-day reset.
August 22nd?
All right. So we're going to come back on August 22nd. You need to be here. All right. And that's going to be your plea deadline date. On that date, you need to let me know whether or not you worked out an agreement with the state. If you have not worked out an agreement, then what will happen is your next date will be your jury trial date. Okay. All right.
May I apologize to the court? I was having issues with my attorney. We just were
Not this one, correct?
not this,
Okay.
and it was communication issue. So
All right. I accept your apology, but see, here's the issue. How do I know there's communication issues with your attorney that you're telling me if you don't come to court? All I know is you're not coming to court and you're about to be forced to court. You understand? So don't do that again, okay? All right. Is there anything else?
No, Judge.
All right. We'll be back on August 22nd. That will be the plea deadline date.
All right, thank you,
Your
Judge.
excuse.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Alejandro Chavez. Court is calling 2024 CR 006941, State of Texas versus Alejandro Ismael Chavez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Zach Dunn for the state.
Andrew Priest for the defense.
And are you Mr. Chavez?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all of the discovery?
I believe so.
And did you review it with your client?
I did.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Chavez, did you review the document entitled Application for Community Supervision with your attorney and understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are, Your Honor.
Mr. Chavez, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand your charge of assault, family second offense? That's a third degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
He has, Your Honor.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
I believe he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
I believe so.
Mr. Chavez, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to, I'm sorry, just 1 second. Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, just 1 second. I'm sorry, off the record. There's something in the paperwork that's throwing. All right. Court will find, we're back on the record. Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 3 years in the prison. The state recommends community supervision. They're taking in consideration 724-783. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Yanira, Yanira Hernandez. Did you understand that to be the plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that to be the entirety of your plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 3 years and there be a TAP evaluation. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Contest?
State any evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. State offers states 1 and attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there'll be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, we would just ask that you follow the plea bargain. From the moment I was appointed to represent my client, he's expressed remorse for what happened. He's expressed a desire to try to resolve these cases, put this behind him, do what he has to do what the court orders him to do. And he just wants to put this behind him, Judge. He is sorry for what happened. He is remorseful for what happened. He's expressed that to me through the course of my representation. And we would ask that you follow the plea bargain.
All right, do you have any children?
Just 1.
Age?
8.
And who does the 8-year-old live with?
With the ex-girlfriend.
All right. And the 8-year-old, is that a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
And the prior assault case you had, who was that person to you?
The ex-girlfriend.
Other,
Ex-girlfriend.
who's the father? I mean, who's the mother of this child?
No. It's
Oh.
another woman. It's the mother of the
All
child.
right. So do you love your daughter?
Yes,
How much do you love her?
a lot.
All right. So how would you feel if somebody were to hit her?
No, not good at all.
All right. Let's say her boyfriend. How would you feel about that?
It's not right, and nobody should put their hands on a woman or anybody.
Yeah. And especially a woman they supposedly love, right? So then why are you doing it?
It was a mistake, and
No, those were choices. You were making choices. That wasn't a mistake. So why are you choosing?
I was intoxicated, and I wasn't myself.
Nope,
I'm
that
never
intoxication
like-
thing is an excuse. Because let me ask you, in 2014, when you had the same instance with somebody else, were you intoxicated then?
No, I was 17 years old at that time. I was just
Right.
immature and just not.
No, there are plenty of 17-year-olds who do not get into physical altercations with people they claim to love. So why are you doing this?
I shouldn't have done it. It was a mistake.
No, a mistake, that's not a mistake. You're making choices. You chose to drink, right? And then you chose to come back to the location with her and eat in bed, which she was complaining about because you were eating sloppily in bed. And then an argument ensues about you being, eating food in bed. And then that turns into you hitting her. So I'm trying to figure out, why are you doing that? These are choices you're making. These are not mistakes. Unless you're saying you mistakenly hit her. Because according to what I read in the stipulations, there wasn't a mistake in you hitting her. You did it intentionally. It says you were supposed to go to a job interview, but you got drunk with some friends. And it says that she, who has a job, picked you up after she got off of work. So that means that she's working, you're not. You decided to go drink instead of going to a job interview. And then it says she finished work, she picked you up, and they got food together to bring home, which, since you didn't have a job, she probably paid for. Once they got home, you got into bed and started eating sloppily in bed and began to take his clothes off. She got upset due to the fact that you were making a mess in bed, and an argument ensued. It says, then you proceeded to slap her on the right side of her face, then push and restrain her against the wall, and while you had her hands pinned against the wall. She was able to break contact, and then you brought her down to the ground and pinned her down by putting a knee in her stomach and slapped her. And the only reason why this ended is because there were two witnesses who heard the commotion, and they came in the room, and they said when they came in the room, she was yelling for you to get off of her. And then they said you were laughing at the two people who were coming in the room. So none of that is an accident or a mistake. So you need to figure out why you do the things that you do. Do you understand? And are you employed?
Not at the moment. I've been on house arrest ever since I got bonded out. It's been like 3 months already.
When's the last time you had employment?
3 months ago, before I was on house arrest.
Well, in this, she said you were looking for a job. So you didn't have a job during this time. What do you do for work? Or did
Warehouse
for work?
associate. Warehouse associate.
The court is going to sentence you to 2 years, and 3 years in the prison. Suspended and probated for 4 years. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Yanira Hernandez. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Regular random UAs. TAP evaluation. That can be out of custody since you're already out of custody. And to follow all TAP recommendations. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. And that's going to remain in place until he completes the parenting classes. I'm going to order 120 hours of community service restitution. Once he completes parenting classes, that will be deemed satisfied. I'm going to want 180 sober meetings in 180 days. We'll do the MRT course. Take in consideration 724783. And on the UAs, make sure they test for alcohol, proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Field visits, 1 time per month for 6 months. State, how do you feel about the GPS?
In terms of potentially,
Removing it or not removing it?
the state, I think, is a blanket position with these kind of cases, Your Honor. We just believe it's in the best interest of community safety to have that monitor on.
All right, we're going to do partial GPS for employment and for him to complete any classes. And that's going to be for 4 months. And if he has no violations, then you can come back and ask for it to be removed. And probation, do those monitors need to be switched out? All right. And so that needs to be done. Probation, if I say it's done by August 2nd, is that enough time?
Yes, sir.
All right. Probation, is there anything else he needs? Is there anything else you need from the court?
I'll be given an opportunity to get the ankle monitor taken off in 4 months, or?
Yes, if you are successful on it and there are no violations. All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction and also an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We can go off the record. Here's the thing. Whatever is causing you to be violent, you need to take care of that. Hopefully the BIPP course. I'm sorry, probation, did I put the BIPP course in there? All right, at the BIPP course, hopefully the BIPP course will help you address those issues. Can I see that file back, please? So hopefully that will help you address those issues. If there is something else that is going on with you that is causing you to behave the way you do, then let the court know. You've been placed on probation, so I want you to successfully complete it. And I don't want you to come back to another court for these same issues. So you're gonna have to start looking within yourself to find out why you are behaving the way you're behaving. And it's not mistake. You're making choices. You're making choices to drink to intoxication, and you're making choices to put your hands on someone and violence. You understand?
Yes.
All right, good luck to you, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. King Scott?
Present.
Thank you. Okay, Judge. All right, court is calling 2024 CR 007138, State of Texas versus King Scott. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state,
Zach Dunn for the state.
for the defense?
Renee Munoz on behalf of the defendant, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, off the record for one moment.
Yes, Judge.
All right, I'm sorry about that. If y'all can re-announce for the state,
Zach Dunn for the state.
defense,
Renee Munoz.
and are you Mr. Scott?
Yes,
How do you pronounce your first name?
King.
All right. Counsel, have you received all of the discovery?
Yes, Judge.
And did you review it with your client?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Scott, did you review the application for community supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes,
And did you sign it?
yes,
Did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
yes,
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, did you review the document entitled Court Admonishments and Defendants Waivers and Affidavit of Admonitions with your attorney? Did you understand it?
yes,
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with assault, family choking strangulation? That's a third-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes,
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand by entering this plea you were giving up those rights?
Yes,
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
yes,
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes,
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
in my opinion, he does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
That is correct, Judge. Yes.
I'm trying to do like 12 things at one time.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Scott, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
no,
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
no,
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
yes,
Are you a U.S. citizen?
yes,
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
yes,
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 3 years in the prison. State recommends community supervision. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with Lauren Briones. Did you understand that to be the plea?
yes,
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
yes,
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that to be the entirety of the plea?
Yes,
Defense, is that the plea?
That's correct, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm sorry, just one moment. All right, so everyone agreed that that's the plea bargain agreement?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Yeah, yes, Judge.
All right, and Mr. Scott, did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney?
yes,
Did you understand it?
yes,
Did you sign it in both places?
yes,
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal?
yes,
The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
yes, Your Honor.
All right, outside the agreement, the state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 3 years. Did you understand that was a recommendation and the court does not have to follow that recommendation?
Yes.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State, any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State offers states 1 and attachments.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, did you review the waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes,
Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
yes,
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent? Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there'll be no live testimony? Did you understand? Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. The court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments, and the court will review the same. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
If we may, Your Honor,
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
we're respectfully requesting that this court follow the negotiated plea agreement, Judge.
All right. So why are you doing this, Mr. Scott? It says it's over household chores.
it wasn't over household chores, but,
What was it over?
a friend of mine had passed away and his wife needed some money. I loaned her some money and I wasn't asking back. I wasn't asking for the money back. Lauren, which was my girlfriend at the time, was very angry with that. She got into an altercation with her, and after they fought, I kind of was like defending the other girl. I called my friend to take Lauren to the hospital because she was busted up, and I was at home, and in the morning, I had the cops at my door saying that I did all this stuff.
So you're saying you didn't do this?
I did not put my hands on her. I did not strangle her. I have 2 daughters. She's very aggressive. I don't hit her back or anything like that.
So you're saying this happened because she got in an altercation with someone else?
Yes.
And who was this person she got in an altercation with?
Her name was Lisa.
Well, I mean, you loaned her money, right? The person so who did you loan money to?
It was my friend Philip's wife. He passed away on December 23rd, and she was just going through some hard times.
But no. What's her name?
Lisa.
Okay, Lisa what?
I don't know her last name.
Well, there's a person here listed as Julissa Anguiano.
Oh no, that's my friend's girlfriend. She has nothing to do with the case. Nothing at all.
All right.
Yeah, nothing to do with it.
So, defense? He's saying that somebody else beat her up.
I explained the whole situation, Judge, where we're at currently in this phase. In terms of the court proceedings, I'll ask the client if you wanted me to reach out to the state for an offer, if you wanted to not have a jury trial in this matter. His concern, I believe, is as well that he's been in custody for some time without the ability to make bond. So when referencing all of that, we did confirm and reach out that the complaining witness does not want to move forward with the case. There's been an A&P tendered, Judge. So,
well, here's the thing. I don't want people pleading to cases because I can't get out on bond. One or two things can happen. One, I can move this for a trial very quickly. We can put it on the docket for next week. Or number two, you all can address bond issues. Because what is his bond set at?
it's set at 20,000 currently,
Okay.
Judge.
And does he have priors?
He does had a couple that were dismissed, right?
Yeah, I just had it dismissed. She did it like well, she did it one time, but she has a very bad temper.
And Judge, in speaking with my client, I did tell him that I would gladly assert his defenses and have a jury trial, but he wanted me to get him the best offer today, and I did go over all the stipulations. So I believe that's why he wanted to proceed this way outside my guidance, because I asked for more time to get ready to.
Well, if you all want to, this is what I can do. Because I'm going to require a TAP evaluation for you in custody because I need to figure out that's for 2 weeks. That's how long a TAP will take. If y'all want, we can bring this back on Thursday or we can bring it back on Monday. That'll give you more time. I don't want somebody to take a plea because they want to get out of jail or they can't make bond when those issues can be addressed. If you're telling me that somebody else did this wasn't you,
Yes.
then, you need to give your attorney a chance to find out who this other person is. Who knows? Maybe they'll come in and testify, give some information to the state. I don't think the state, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Dunn, I don't think the state wants someone to be convicted or on probation for a crime that they didn't commit.
Absolutely, Judge. And just to even further the court's own point, I was speaking to another counsel about another trial date, and if this would like to proceed, Your Honor, we're ready if that is what the course of action needs to be.
So, counsel, if you need time to find this person he's saying, then, the plea is here. The plea will stand. I don't think the state is going to go back on their plea. And if you want to file a motion for a bond reduction, maybe they want to discuss that. I have no idea what your criminal history is, but I know I don't want anyone pleading to a case if they're saying the only reason why they're pleading to the case is because they can't get out of jail. That's what motions for bond reductions are for.
Take care.
And this is, the conversation that we've been having.
So this is what I'll do. I'm going to recall this back for Thursday. That's one day. Because you won't be back Wednesday. We'll come back on Thursday. Maybe that'll give him a chance. Who knows? Maybe this person will walk through the doors and tell the state, I'm the person you've been looking for. I can shed some light on this.
That's fair enough, Your Honor, and I appreciate that. And in the alternate, I'll file a motion for bond reduction just in case, Judge. But I'm glad we can clarify that issue because I did not want him pleading something he didn't want to do either. But at the end of the day, it's his call. But we'll definitely strive to those ends, Judge.
All right, we'll recall it. And then I've already accepted your plea and I found there was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. But what I can tell you, if your counsel decides that you all are going to proceed a different way, I'll allow you all to orally, if there's no objection from the state, do a motion for new trial and we can start back over.
Yes.
All right, so we'll recall this for Thursday.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.